What's up everybody, Brett here, my YouTube channel Good Talk Gaming, and we are coming back at you with another community cast here in Total War Warhammer 2. It's going to be a 1v1, Triari versus Jazua, and Triari is an early adopter of our channel and a sub, and big thanks to him for sending us all of the replays that he has sent. This is a pretty amazing map to fight on, Slan Gold, and very thematic considering that it is a Lizardman versus Tomb King battle. However, a little bit unfortunate that the Lizardmen aren't the ones on this hill position defending their ancient Old One technology. But let's go ahead and very briefly describe the army composition, and we'll get into this battle shortly. So Skeleton Warriors and Tomb Guard mixed nicely in the front. The actual Kepler's Guard here, the Regiment of Renown Tomb Guard, dual wielding. They have regeneration naturally, and they have a great anti-infantry bonus. Usekph right behind them, providing a bit of an armor-piercing punch to the front line. Some skeleton spearmen in the back to help protect the back line, as well as one of them being the Scorpion Legion with their very cool poison spears. They're actually green, so they look a bit different. Love them. They're very cost-effective. They're a great tar pit unit. Cetra the Imperishable on his Chariot of the Gods. Look at that charge bonus. 100 charge bonus, flaming and magical attacks, as well as the Lore of Nehekar are going to be providing some passive healing, no doubt. And double Necrotechs. Interesting. They're not all the way stripped down. When I play them, I usually strip down the Necrotechs. They have a hard time keeping up with the constructs, so putting them in the front lines is not really always where your Sphinx is going to be. So it can be very difficult to catch up because they are on foot. But they do have this aura here, Wrath of the Creator. Melee attack and armor-piercing damage to constructs. 10 armor, 10 missile resistance to constructs. And this is the more important one, the Restore, which is going to allow them to heal the constructs. Whether that be Usekph or the Sphinx of Usekph. I think if you went really heavy on the Usekph, maybe cut this and just as many as, I think you can get almost 3 more Usekph for the cost of this big guy. And then you mix the Necrotechs up in amongst the front lines. You're going to get a lot of value out of those auras. Without that, though, he's just going to have to keep them nearby the Sphinx, and I don't think they stack. So if they each have it, it could be a bit redundant. Yeah, it's probably a bit redundant. Maybe one in the front lines, one following the Sphinx. But anyway, he has the high ground, and as Anakin learns to his great sorrow, that is an advantage you cannot ignore. Kroq'gar on the back of Grymloq here. Let's see if he has all of his abilities. He has Cold-Blooded, of course. Sacred Spawning of Huadl, giving him physical resistance as well as vigor. Deadly Onslaught for more charge bonus, more armor piercing, more weapon damage, as if Grymloq needed any more weapon damage. And the Swiftness of Itzel, giving him speed, making a bit of an explosion that allows him to escape from melee if necessary. Gotta love him. Skink Priest with the Lore of Heavens here, and this is the Ancient Stegodon, so this one is the real bruiser in melee. Oh, no, it's not. Okay, this is the standard Stegodon. Alright, so what you have to do to tell that is you have to look at the range. I saw the poison missile damage and I thought it was the Ancient. No, also there's some stat differences. I think the armor is much higher on the Ancient Stegodon. But this is basically an artillery piece with enough range probably to sit back and fire comfortably on these units. And you can see he's already got a shot or two off into those skeleton warriors. It's very accurate, and it also does cause poison. Let's see, what other fun units do they have? The front line is very compact. Saurus Warriors with shields, mixed in with some standard skink skirmishers. Yeah, using their poison blow darts to deal damage from afar. There's no range on the other side of the field, so they can really do what they want with impunity. More Saurus Warriors with shields here. And just a nice fat line, no differentiators. Probably expecting archers, but luckily for him, there were none on the field. Kroq'gars might be one of my favorite units in the game. Definitely one of my favorite units for the Lizardmen. It's just unfortunate. They keep getting buffed, but it just doesn't ever seem to be enough. They're going to find a home in this matchup, however. They're very good at beating down infantry, but also good at pinning large constructs in place. If Triari had gone with some Usekph with great bows, they would be tearing up these Kroq'gars, and they would be having a very difficult time. One unit of Temple Guards here in the back. No doubt just trying to protect their caster, who's going to be very good at dealing with blobs of infantry. Probably has the wind attack. Probably also just took way too many spells as I'm looking at them. maybe a few more spells than was absolutely necessary. Pterodon Riders with Fire Leech Bolas, the fire damage will be very relevant versus the Tomb Kings, who are in fact weak to fire damage. And without any range, she has no way of contesting the skies. So let's see how this battle goes, guys, as they line up here, get ready to clash. Skirmisher advantage goes to the Lizardmen, which is not something you get to say very often. But they're just going to sit here and attack. So the Tomb Kings need to get in there. And they're targeting the Kroq'gar. Very nice choice. Any unit that has regeneration has a great, I think it's 25% weakness to fire. So they'll be able to tear them up. Usekph are going to rush in with absolutely no fear. They're designed to take on units like the Saurus Warriors. But unsupported, that could be quite dangerous. And Grimloq's going to get in there and probably take out a model almost every time he attacks. Cetra thought about charging in and then decided better of it. But a nice sandstorm here, right in the blobbed up units. That was undoubtedly the plan all along. So nice play there from Triari. Should have never second guessed him. The Usekph were there to pin down this group, cause the opponent to blob up around him so that he could drop a sandstorm. Urians, I think is how it's pronounced, Thunderbolt coming down there on the Skeleton Warriors. Not its intended target. You want to generally try and target artillery with that. It's very good at taking out artillery pieces. And now the Big Daddy Sphinx comes in. And it's going to look to battle Kroq'gar, which is something it can absolutely do. Wow, look at that big swipe. I don't know if there are too many units in the game that can contest the Sphinx of Usekph. Grimloq and Kroq'gar is certainly one of them. Kolek would probably be the other. And after that, I'm not sure what else. I would be very surprised if anything else could. Usekph's incantation of desiccation, so reducing in an AoE the melee attack and melee defense of the enemy, allowing the skeletons to do a lot more damage. Unfortunately, these Kroq'gar never really made it into combat whole. Cetra's in the backfield, doing damage. Boom, that's a big charge, and he's just going to plow all the way through. 100 charge bonus. If you're just constantly microing him, he just can't be stopped. Really need to make sure that restores are going off on the Sphinx, keeping it healed. The Heavens Caster is using some of his magic now, reducing the stats. Curse of the Midnight Wind, minus 30 armor, minus 26 melee attack. Pretty smart, Triari, just to pull him out of the combat. Maybe we should rotate him into the front lines, just to give him a chance. Cetra using his explosion ability, very similar to Kroq'gar's, to kind of bust up the formations over here, allowing his skeleton warriors to mix in, do more damage, and allowing him to escape. The Sphinx deciding it's time to get back to the battle, and is going to start carving up Grimloq from behind. And if you're attacking a unit from behind, you miss out on melee defense, and it becomes much easier to hit in those instances. The Temple Guard are actually perfect here, surrounding Kroq'gar. They're anti-large bonuses, they're halberd units, they're very good at tying down a unit like the Sphinx himself and dealing damage to it. Saurus Warriors here routing off the field. The summoned Usekph just dropped straight into the front line to help win this engagement. The Fire Leech Bolas are nearly out of ammunition, but they've just been chipping down at the Sphinx of Usekph's health. Narrow's Incantation of Protection going off. That's a spell straight from Cetra. 44% physical resistance. Would have been nice to have that earlier, perhaps, when he had a lot more HP. And the Lizardman player, Joshua, is using the Skink Priest to kind of bully Cetra as much as he can, and the Skirmishers are just slowing him down with their poison, not really doing any damage. And yeah, Big Daddy Grimloq went down here in the midst of the frontline engagement. I think I got it on camera, but I don't think I commentated as it was happening. But that Sphinx paid for itself. It went one-on-one. It's still up. There should be several more restores. I think you get 3 charges each. Oh, and the Lizardman player is going for like a point-blank Thunderbolt, perhaps? Yeah, it's not going to do much damage. At this point, he just needs to cycle restores to keep it up. And once these Pterodon Riders run out of ammunition, they're going to be forced to engage in melee. And there you go. The fact that they run out of ammunition does figure into the balance of power here. So as soon as they ran out of ammunition, they were in deep trouble. Still a lot of health on the Skink, still a little bit of ammunition on them, and the Lore of Heavens caster probably didn't have any Winds of Magic left. but was probably in decent health. And eventually those Usekph summons would have faded. So I mean, the game didn't seem to be quite over, but the last minute or so of the battle was so decisive that it triggered kind of a bit of a chain rout. And very good play there from both sides. Interesting builds as well. Having no ranged options could have really come back to bite Triari, but using the Usekph to blob up the enemy and then trying to take advantage of a good Skull Storm there to do maximum damage. The Kroq'gars, we didn't really focus on them too much, but they were apparently just in the front line just beating down skeletons, which, you know, cost effective wise, these skeletons are 325 gold, and these Kroq'gars, I think they're still like 1,000, if not 1,100. So if they spend all battle fighting one unit of skeletons, you're kind of happy about that, because they honestly could have been used to try and help pin down the Sphinx. And in conjunction with Grimloq, they potentially could have burst it down. Another thing that was possible for the Lizardman player to do was to ignore the Sphinx. Just straight up ignore it. Grimloq is so mobile, you could use your swiftness of Itzel, decide to hit the right side of the formation. If he tries to chase you with the Sphinx, you zoom out of there and you go back to the other side of the formation. Never quite let him get a good target, and the Sphinx of Usekph, before you know it, he'll just be in the front line trying to chase you, getting chased by Temple Guard, getting pinned down by Kroq'gars. Love the Fire Leech Bolus pick. It's not a pick you get to see very often, because they are the more expensive version of the Pterodon Riders. They don't get a lot of love, but their ability to do fire damage is great, and against skeletons, they certainly are a good pick. I also like them against the undead of any variety. Any faction that has a weakness to fire, they can certainly benefit. And they're not bad in melee as well, if you start rear charging with these guys once they run out of ammunition. Alright, so great battle. Thanks to Triari for sending in this replay. Thanks to Joshua for being a good sport and having a good game. For those of you out there who are watching this channel, watching this video, I want you to know that you can go ahead and send me your replays if you're interested in having one of your games cast. Just make sure it's a recent one so that, you know, there's no problems with me uploading it or anything like that. And yeah, subscribe if you haven't already, guys. I appreciate every single sub that I get. I'm still under 50 subs. I'm trying to get to 50 before Christmas, and that's kind of my goal right now, my short-term goal. And like the video if you did like it. Leave a comment if you feel like it. Whatever you want to say, go ahead and say it. Thank you for your time, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.